All right, today we're going to talk about the typical motorcycle exhaust system, identifying its basic parts, and pointing out some of the things to look for in troubleshooting and maintaining your exhaust system. What we have here is your usual typical motorcycle exhaust system. You have what's called the header pipe and the muffler. All motorcycles have some variation of the header pipe and muffler system. On top of the header pipe is virtually always, for safety and looks reasons, a heat shield. Where the exhaust header meets the head of the motorcycle, the seal is maintained by a wire gasket. This wire gasket mashes in and allows you to move the header pipe a little bit. The problem you run into is after a while, this seal, this gasket, can and will go bad and cause a leak. The leak you're looking for in here is usually hidden by the heat shield. But what you're looking for is black sooty markings here and or smoke wisps when you start the bike. When this small gasket goes bad, several things happen. Number one, you'll see usually a blackening and a puff of smoke in that area. A lot of people mistake that for a blown head gasket, and what you really have is a blown exhaust gasket. Virtually all motorcycle exhaust systems are covered by a heat shield. The heat shield has two purposes. The first purpose is to cover up the natural discoloration caused by heat that the motorcycle engine creates. The second purpose is to protect the rider from being hurt by or burned by the excess heat from the heat shield. Now, heat shields have a tendency to rattle and make noise as they come loose or break the clamps. As you can see here, heat shields are held on with a standard hose clamp. Sometimes these clamps break, sometimes they just come loose. On your motorcycle, what you'll want to do is get under there with a flat tip screwdriver and check all your hose clamps and make sure they're tight. Now, you'll have heat shields all along different areas of your exhaust system. Some bikes have as few as 2, some bikes have as many as 5. Check all the heat shields for broken clamps and tightness throughout the motorcycle. Where your header pipe meets to your muffler is a major connection with a large clamp, as you can see. Here's another spot to look for that black sooty or smoke puffing type indication that you have an exhaust leak problem. Now, if you have an exhaust leak down in this area, you won't get the backfiring sputtering that you would if you had an exhaust leak up at the head end. But you'll hear a funny noise, you'll see the black soot, you'll see the smoke, and usually this area is covered by a heat shield, so you won't see it directly. If you believe you have a problem in this area, my recommendation is take that section of heat shield off, start the bike, take a look, see if you can see any of the smoke, any of the black sooty area in this area here. The majority of motorcycle mufflers have what's called a baffle. I don't know how well you can see it in here, but this is your baffle. And what that does is it cuts down the noise produced by the exhaust of the motorcycle. Sometimes these baffles will come loose and rattle or completely blow out of the bike. If you have more than one muffler on your bike and one muffler sounds different than the other muffler, you'll want to look down in the end and see if this baffle hasn't come loose or blown out. You can stick your fingers in the end and try to rattle and see if that baffle hasn't come loose. Okay, one thing to really pay attention to when you're checking and maintaining your exhaust system is don't forget it gets very, very hot. Your exhaust system gets extremely hot all the way from here down to the end of the exhaust system. Your heat shield may be cool enough to the touch that you feel okay, but underneath that heat shield, it can be over 300 degrees on that pipe, which is an instant third-degree burn. Very, very painful. So when you are checking and maintaining your exhaust system on your bike, make sure that it is cooled down completely. Just because it's cool to the touch on the heat shield doesn't mean it's going to be cool to the touch on the actual header pipe. A very important point to consider when thinking about changing the exhaust system on your motorcycle is back pressure. What that means is most people have heard the term drag pipes or straight pipes, which sound very loud and are very cool, but they aren't very good for your engine. Specifically motors that have fuel injection, without that back pressure, they won't run very well at all. If you're thinking or considering of changing the exhaust system on your motorcycle, I highly recommend that you talk to your mechanic to get an idea of what you can change it to without hurting either the mileage or the performance of your motorcycle.